What's up everyone, welcome back to Switchcraft, and it's a great day to be a gamer. It's official. Matt Piscatello released on Twitter the official numbers for the top 10 selling GameCube games ever. There are a ton of videos out there talking about everyone's personal favorites, but today we get the raw objective numbers to back them up. Let's walk through and talk through the top 10 selling GameCube games of all time and put the argument to rest once and for all. Up first, and at number 10, we have Paper Mario: The $1,000-Year Door. This 2D art style was really polarizing when we first saw it on the Nintendo 64, but most people have warmed up to it once they realize how great of a game it is. The thing about this art style is that because it's so simplistic, it holds up pretty well, and love it or hate it, I definitely think this game deserves a spot on our top 10. At number 9, we have The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. What more can I say about this game? It was the last game released for the GameCube and was delayed as the Wii version actually released before it. The developers wanted to refine the game and add more content and make sure that it ran well on both consoles. It was the first game I got for my Wii, and it introduced Wolf Link to the world. We have our first and only third-party title on the console, and it's Sonic Adventure 2 at number 8. It was the last Sonic game for the Dreamcast after it was discontinued, and has a little bit of everything. Platforming as Sonic, shooting as Tails, and action exploration as Eggman. Music was awesome and visuals were well above average. Too bad about that voice acting though. And taking up the number 7 spot on the list was, and I'll admit, it's a game in a series that I've never played. It's Animal Crossing for the GameCube. I can only talk about what I've heard about this game and that it's addictive as all hell. I personally never got into the graphics and game style, but I solemnly swear, with all of you as my witnesses, that I will buy the Switch version when it launches and give it a fair shake. Do you think that'll be enough to get me hooked and play the other games? All my Animal Crossing fans, let me know down in the comments. At number 6, we have the legendary Metroid Prime. That baby moved 2.82 million copies. This game caused gamers to become legitimately scared as it was Samus's first 3D title. And how do you follow Super Metroid? I'll tell you how. By creating an ahead of its time, critically acclaimed, brilliant 3D shooter that would go on to spawn sequel after sequel and cause some of the craziest reaction videos when we got the logo for Metroid Prime 4 at E3 2017. A link to the best compilation video of those reactions is down below in the description. We're into the top 5, and taking up that spot is Luigis Mansion with 3.6 million units sold lifetime. We're getting into some pretty serious numbers, and it isn't any wonder. Having Luigi on his own adventure, sucking up ghosts in a haunted mansion using a vacuum cleaner would have sold even if it was crap. The thing is that it's amazing. The game was, and still is, addictive and is really genuinely fun to play. I 100%ed the sequel on the 3DS and blew my top when it was announced that we'd be getting Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch in 2019. If you want to play the original but don't have a GameCube, you can play the remastered version on the 3DS that released before Halloween of 2018. We're really getting into the heavy hitters now, and in 4th we have The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, which, even though it was originally met with some hate, it went on to sell 4.1 million copies. It's been remastered for basically every console since, and honestly, come on, you know it's only a matter of time before we get it on the Switch, let's be honest. I say that it was originally met with some hate because of the introduction of an art style technique known as cell shading. It does look a little cartoony, but I promise that it grows on you, and it's become one of the highest rated Zelda games in the series. Plus, this first attempt at cell shading ultimately led Nintendo to master the technique and be able to pump out Breath of the Wild, which happens to be my favorite video game of all time. But enough about me. Let's get into the top 3. Moving 5.5 million units and taking up the 3 spot is Super Mario Sunshine. Welcome to Isle Delfino, and our poor Mario can't get a break. He just finished stomping Bowser in Super Mario 64 and he's looking for a little sun and sand. Wouldn't you know it, he gets framed, and he's ordered to use Flood to clean up the whole place. I found the Super Soaker mechanic and the GameCube controller took some getting used to after hundreds and hundreds of hours playing on my N64, but 5.5 million units later, and people are still begging we get Isle Delfino DLC for Super Mario Odyssey. Okay, we're down to our top 2, and if you know the GameCube, you can probably guess which titles are missing. It now becomes a question of which order they're in. Pause this video, leave a comment with which game you think took number 1, then come back and finish watching. Go on, I'll give you a sec. If you guessed Mario Kart Double Dash, you'd be incorrect. Unfortunately, as that game actually took number 2, moving 6.9 million units. Mario Kart Double Dash is basically a money printer for the Nintendo because it's for everyone and anyone. The game is crazy fun and can be played for hours, months, and years later. Double Dash introduced 2 characters being on the cart at the same time, the first time we saw item management, and some of the most memorable courses and music in the entire series. But back to my little quiz for number 1. The correct answer was Super Smash Bros. Melee at a record-breaking 7.09 million. How fitting is it that we have this list shortly after Smash Bros. Ultimate drops on the Nintendo Switch? Smash Bros. Melee was truly a spectacular game, and it was so much bigger and fleshed out than the original on the N64. The original will always have a special place in a lot of people's hearts, but it looks and feels simple compared to Melee. Part of that was because of how well the GameCube controller lent itself to this game in particular. It's still the controller of choice for serious players. And there you have it. Let's look at that list in its entirety. You can't tell me that Nintendo didn't make good games. 9 out of 10 of those babies are first party. But let's also take a step back and see those titles from today's perspective and what's hot. Matt Piscatella, who originally tweeted this, said it best. The more things change, the more they stay the same. It's a great day to be a gamer. Switchcraft out.